Top of the table.
Do you recall Miranda Priestley, played by Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada? Her famous monologue about how the color of Anne Hathaway's sweater isn't blue but cerulean? Or the absolute resolve of Steve Jobs of Apple to create a product that till date is synonymous with his name? Or Amir Khan from the Indian film industry, who shoots and reshoots, goes through every detail of the script till he's satisfied with the answers to his questions. All these people on real or real life had one thing in common: they were all perfectionists. And that's our hot topic of discussion today. Are you a perfectionist? Hello, and a very warm welcome to yet another episode of Top of the Table. I am your host, Sheetal Sharma, and with me is our in house clinical psychologist, Jaswandi Sahasrabudhe, who will shed light whether being a perfectionist is good or bad. Right, Jaswandi?
Yes, Sheetal. Hello, hello, all listeners. Sheetal, as we move ahead, in this podcast, your question, whether it is right or wrong, I guess we will be able to actually discuss and uncover as we go ahead. However, I want to shed, as you said, some light on what do you mean by being a perfectionist. We have heard like so many people talk about, what, I am a perfectionist. I want things to be in this way, and I cannot bear it if it is in some other way or things are not in place. That's exactly what is perfectionist. But perfectionism is a personality trait, and not just a behavior. If it's a behavior, it's like you want things to be neat and not that you are a perfectionist. So basically, according to me, okay, it is a characteristic of a person, and that is the concern wherein they want to make everything flawless. So being a perfectionist, generally what people tend to do is like associate mistakes equal to failure. So according to them, if I have made a mistake, I'm a complete failure.
Absolutely, Jaswandi. And in fact, while you were talking about, the character traits of perfectionist, honestly, I have always pictured myself as a perfectionist because I was one of those people, and I still am one of that person who would want the bottles to be kept a certain way in the fridge, the bed sheets to be tucked very neatly, the thing that belongs wherever it does, it needs to be there. And to be very honest, I would never step out of my house even without my clothes getting ironed, while and it was a huge joke amongst my friend. They used to say that, oh my god, this girl will even iron her jeans and step out. In a very loose way, they'd use the term that, oh my god, you have an OCD when it comes to all these things. Now, when we hear about this term OCD, it somewhere kind of talks about, again, an obsession with things being kept a certain way, which is just one aspect of OCD, right? But somewhere, do you think that the lines blur when it comes to perfectionism and on OCD?
As I mentioned before, Sheetal, perfectionism or being a perfectionist is just a trait, uh, and not just a behavior that we engage in. As you said, okay, I like things to be in a certain way. That is your trait. It does not mean that everything and anything that you do, you need to have a particular way of doing it. Perfectionism, I would say, is a condition where people want to do things in the right way, or rather than right way, in a certain way. But if you talk about OCD, it is where the actions start controlling your behavior. It is just the obsession that starts controlling you. For example, I'll give you an example which will clearly define what is perfectionism, what is OCD, and if there are any similarities. So, if you have dirt on your hand, okay, your hands are dirty, it would be rational. It is right to wash your hand, because people sometimes feel, oh my god, my hands are getting dirty, and you wash your hand. That is being a perfectionist. Yes, you want to keep your hands clean, but if you keep washing it, even if the dirt is gone, is when it turns out to be the obsession. So it is an irrational response of you continuously washing your hands even if when the dirt is gone. Do you get it? That we can call it as you are having OCD traits. On the other hand, perfectionism, as I said, is a personality trait where one tries to be flawless. It becomes OCD when we strive, when the condition starts controlling us. It's not the dirt that you want to wash off. It's the recurrence of washing hand that becomes a problem.
I understand, Jaswanti. And in fact, like when you're talking about character trait and how, you're constantly worried about it. When I think about, like when I see that things are not kept a certain way, or, when possibly things are not getting done in the timelines that I had set for myself, I start getting irritated, somewhere I start getting worried, irritated. I start questioning everything. I start questioning my entire day, possibly, whether I did certain things the right way or at the right time or not, and how I would have possibly changed it. So it's like this huge kind of loop that you get caught in, where you're
Oh.
constantly thinking about how you could have possibly made it better, how it could have possibly been another way, how you could have achieved whatever you had set out to achieve. And that, I feel, somewhere is very unhealthy.
Yes, Sheetal, you are completely right. And as you rightly said, if you go back and think about it, when you spoke about things to be in a certain way and OCD, so if I have to put it in simple words, perfectionist, a person who is a perfectionist generally tends to control everything that happens around him. Like from getting up to ironing his clothes to doing things to going to work, everything he wants it to be in a certain way. On the other hand, if we talk about OCD, or OCD traits, being obsessed with something, it is a particular thing that we are obsessed with, or a particular situation. Consider washing your hand, or cleaning something, or it can be as simple as doing one task repeatedly. That's when we can say a person has traits of OCD.
And just one thing, would it be right to say that perfectionism somewhere is one of the many traits that a type A personality has?
Yes, yes, you are completely right. And many people ask whether do you think perfectionism is right and perfect? Do you think a person should be perfectionist? I am of the opinion that anything and everything that we do with balance is fine. Once that starts hampering our daily life, Sheetal, is when we need to sit down to think, are we actually on the right path?
True. And in fact, Jaswanti, what we've seen is that, that whenever you're seeking for perfectionism, or when you, even the kind of examples that I gave in the beginning of the show, these are people that are glorified so much. So, somewhere I think that it kind of leads to a very unhealthy expectation out of a person, even out of other people, if not that person, to achieve that. While the personality of the other person might be just completely opposite of it, right?
So true, Sheetal. Here, I would like to give you my example. Okay, so I'm a very detailed person, and to be very honest, when I say detailed person, I love structure for everything I do. So, a simple example would be having a structure and process for each and every action that I do, from like setting up like my morning routine to have starting my work to working. Everything needs to be in a particular process. Now, you ask me, this is definitely me trying to be flawless. I don't want to make any mistake when I do each task, or when I engage into each action. However, this process and structures at times get affected because of several factors. Obviously, I might not be able to do a morning routine as I do on a regular day on some day when people are at my house, or any other factor. At that time is when I actually get upset, and I lose all hope in doing all the other actions that are supposed to be done during the day, which I used to do easily. And then I feel, oh, I was not able to do the morning routine. And do you think my days are even going to fall in place? It's like you are having that all or nothing thinking. In psychology, we talk about it's all white or all black, there's no gray. So it's working yourself to such a place where you get so exhausted, and you lose all the hope. You feel, okay, things are not going to work out how I have thought. And that really takes a lot of toll on your health as well, is what I think.
In what ways, Jaswanti, do you think that perfectionism really harms a person in physical as well as mental ways?
So, first and most important, Sheetal, that I feel a perfectionist or a person who shows or demonstrates traits of perfectionism generally has strained relationships. When we speak about strained relationships, it's not just relationship at work, at personal life, but overall relationship. Because I am expecting something to be in a certain way, and if the person does not do it in that way, I'm like, no, it's wrong. It's basically, if it is black, it has to be black. and I cannot think of any other way to do it, and that's that the other person might feel, what are you saying, man? Just think about it from my angle. I'm sure all of us have experienced it, isn't it, Sheetal?
Jaswanti, my husband is going to love you for saying that, because complete opposite of me, and I'm always the person who is trying to, kind of structure everything too much, and he's a creative, madcap who doesn't like any structure to the day. So, there's a constant struggle, and he's going to love you for the statement that you just made.
Exactly. And Sheetal, not just strained relationship, even the negative effect can be development of anxiety and depressive traits. Because I am not able to do a certain thing in certain way that I had thought about. I start getting so anxious. Oh my god! If I was not able to do one task, how am I going to do the other tasks of the day? And that somehow makes me feel hopeless, or I don't see any hope ahead. I don't feel things can change, which can develop over a time depressive traits as well. To certain extent, Sheetal, this also, being a perfectionist also tends to hamper your physical health. Now you'll ask, what, perfectionism really hampers your physical health? But it does, because I'll tell you, people, one of my friend, okay, he loves to go to gym, and he started this because he wanted to have a toned body. And trust me, Sheetal, now he has been getting into such like very robust diet plans and a lot of things, which now he has started understanding that that is somehow making him look good, Sheetal. But
Hmm.
it is not helping him achieve that uh, physical state, okay, wherein he is working as well, he's working out, but he's not having the good nutritious diet. So,
Hmm.
if having, as I said, having a balance of doing the things right way, but not getting overly compassionate and overly into it, is the key to actually strike the balance.
So, Jaswanti, for instance, if I ask you tips for my husband, okay, now he's living with a perfectionist, okay, and it's tough, it's hard, because we are not easy people to deal with. How how can that person kind of manage a relationship? I know both of us have to come somewhere in the midway and kind of meet each other, but what will be the tips that you will possibly give to that person who's living with a perfectionist?
So I would say, see, that's a very tricky question, Sheetal, because many people at certain points say, you know what, I don't know how to talk to my wife or husband or even a partner, because they feel there is no use telling this person, because this person is not going to change. And I'm sure you might have heard this statement a lot of time. There is no use of telling you, because you're going to do it the way you want. So, as you rightly said, the most important thing when it comes to have building relationship with a person who seems to be a perfectionist is that you need to first accept that this person is a perfectionist. Because if I do not know that my partner is a perfectionist, I will have different hopes and expectations from that person. So coming to the same level of acceptance is the most important, because otherwise it's a blame game, Sheetal. It's like you are blaming the other person is blaming you, and again, that is never going to, you are not going to strike the balance ever. So first is acceptance, second is trying to see the positives out of it. So I will tell you, when I talk to my friends and all, my friends generally say, because you are good with structures and making a process, generally you plan the vacation. So
Hmm.
they actually make the most of my being structured or being process driven, that they say, "Arey, it is better you plan this vacation, because then you will do it in a very structured way." So actually taking the most out of it is also a way to actually improve your relation with a perfectionist.
And Jaswanti, when we talk about perfectionism, do you think that, like a lot of behavioral issues, although even you said that perfectionism is more of a character trait than any behavioral problem, you know, do you think this also has this character trait that kind of builds in you, also has its roots in your childhood?
Good question again, Sheetal. I would say all the psychological concerns that anyone faces in their life, I feel there is certain amount of contribution that comes from childhood experiences, which I have been speaking about, Sheetal, that childhood trauma or childhood negative experiences do shape you to a great extent. Let's take one example. I'm sure most of the parents, okay, when we were kids, most of our parents used to tell us, remember to check your paper before you submit it during the exam, okay? Please check all the details. Now, what does this mean? You're actually making, they just told us to check it once. But now if you actually think about it and reflect on it, Sheetal, especially in my case, I used to check it so many times because I was scared to leave that paper thinking, okay, what if I have made a mistake here? So that is one way of my, like, I will not blame my parents though for that, but that is one way where that seed was planted of being a perfectionist there.
So I think, Jaswanti, it's also a very individualistic, because as a child there could be kids who kind of absorb this information in very very different ways. So there could be kids like you and me who kind of started checking their papers
Mhm.
twice or thrice before giving it for submission, and there could be those rebellious ones who said that I don't need to check it, yeah, I must have done it all right, and given it to the teacher.
So true, Sheetal. And again, see, again, we are coming to the same aspect of how the parenting can be different for each of the kid. As you rightly said, the parents who doing the same action or giving the same instruction to the child, each of the child might react or respond in a different way. But again, if we talk about it, Sheetal, I believe that yes, perfectionism do has some roots with in your childhood, in terms of being judged or people not approving us or disapproval from others. There has been some instances in each of our lives where we felt that people are judging us, or what if people do not approve, or what if this person does not approve what I'm doing. So just because we want to get approval, what we spoke about in Are You People Pleaser, Sheetal, if you remember, it's about taking approval from people, which makes us do the things more better rather than better in a more obsessive manner.
So would you say that there's a constant need for acceptance and appreciation, which possibly kind of also pushes you towards perfectionism?
Yes, it does, because we are human beings, right? Like a man is a social animal, and social acceptance is for everyone. Whatever we say, we do not accept it at times, but social approval, yes, plays a very important role, Sheetal, and that somehow affects the way we perceive things, not just things, but also our image about ourselves.
And so, Jaswanti, when we talk about perfectionism now, it can be unhealthy sometimes as well, right? So how do you end up detoxing yourself from this, or what are the steps that you can take to begin with?
Good word, detoxing, Sheetal, I must say. But yes, there are certain steps, these are very small steps, but which can have a greater impact. The first step, the most important, is being aware of what you think and how often do you think. Sheetal, I'll tell you, many people, are not aware about their thoughts, and they think, like, why is it important they think about our thoughts? Like, I'm just thinking, right? Why is it important? But being aware about what is your thinking pattern really helps you to actually put down things and say, okay, no, I need to stop here. I cannot keep doing it. This is making me get into the loop, and coming out of that loop can be very difficult. So the first one would be, yes, to be aware about your thinking patterns. Second would be, now that you're aware about what you're thinking about, you need to segregate what are the negative and positive thoughts. Because if once you start looking at just negative thoughts, again, you're getting into a negative loop of thought patterns and just thinking negative. So it is better you'll start looking at the positive thoughts more. Think reframing the negative thoughts to positive thought. That really tends to help you actually sit down and think about thoughts in a more productive way. The third one, which I always say, not just to adults but to the children as well, and I believe parents are the ones who need to know this most like evidently, is mistakes are bound to happen. Okay, so accepting this fact makes it more easier, okay, for you to actually become less perfectionist and more goal oriented. I would say, accepting that, okay, I can make mistake. I'm a human. I'm not a robot. I'm not an artificial intelligence. Uh, I would say computer who is flawless. I am going to make mistakes. Accepting that I'm not flawless helps you to actually come out of the trait of being perfectionist. The fourth one would be creating smart goals. Yes, goal setting is important, but the goals need to be very specific. You need to know what I want to achieve. The goal should be measurable. Need to know what, how much, when. You need to know it should be very realistic. I cannot say I'm not walking even 10,000 steps and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to go to Everest base camp. No, it needs to be very realistic. It should be very timely. You need to know when and how are you going to achieve it, by when. There should be a timeline to achieve goal. The fifth and the most important, Sheetal, I have been talking about again this thing since last couple of podcasts, is that we should be open to feedback and feed forward. I believe, and that is something that I've learned in my professional career as well, that feed forward and criticism really helps you to actually sit back to think about what are the things that you can change or what are the things that you can improve on. So, accepting criticism by taking feedback and feed forward, yes, is very important. Last but not the least, this is my favorite. We should stop procrastinating. Do things right away rather than saying, I will do it tomorrow. Because that tomorrow might not come ever. Because you might keep procrastinating, saying that I will do it tomorrow, and that will ultimately affect your goal. So I would say these are the 6 basic steps that we should be following. These are very small steps, but as I said, will have good impact.
And thank you so much, Jaswanti, because these are steps that I'm also going to follow from today. So, these are extremely important. And I think that, whether you're perfectionist or not, following these steps basically allow you to be a little more human and accept yourself with all the flaws that you have, right? So, thank you so much, Jaswanti, for all this important information. I'm sure it'll help our listeners a lot. And next time round, we are going to come up with a little bit more serious topic, but a very important one, which is cancer and its impact on mental health. So, till then, see you.